Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here today. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at XRP, and usually before we do, we jump into Bitcoin, but it's kind of just stuck on stupid down at 46,000 plus or minus a few, just making consistently lower highs and pretty much lower lows. They're very close, but we could see another couple weeks of bearish divergence for Bitcoin. So I just want to kind of throw that out there because it does influence coins like this. XRP is very reliant on Bitcoin for the moment. So we just got to be real with ourselves in that sense. Okay. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. Keep that in mind, and hopefully learn a thing or two here today. Of course, I always try to educate, but I do have a trading community built with that designed, that purpose in mind, right? So I designed it and created that to ensure that you have a good learning experience. I'm rolling out with a trading academy here in the next month. That'll all be live on our website here soon. So be sure to check that out, of course. In the meantime, consider becoming a patron, and we're gonna obviously continue to learn and grow together. Really cool experience. Over 400 members presently, and I just couldn't be happier. Super cool group of folks there. You're going to love it if you check it out. So looking at XRP, of course, what we're going to do is just going to jump into the one-day chart, kind of work our way down. We're going to obviously go ahead and note this here for the most recent divergence based on, kind of what was November 11th roughly. So we're looking at about 5 weeks worth of continuation here. We can see the price came all the way down to about 60 cents. So hopefully some of you got into that value. That was definitely a good price. But if we look at this price action here, it's very similar, very synonymous with Bitcoin, just based on the fact that it does keep testing these support levels. So as we can see here recently, within the last couple weeks, 76 cents has essentially been the lowest point. Now, good news is for XRP, the last 3 days have been more bullish versus bearish, right? So the price is continuing more upwards than downwards, whereas Bitcoin is consistently making lower highs and lower lows. You can see XRP broke that trend and now it's making higher highs. So that's a very good sign, right? So in a sense, we could say it's no longer synonymous with Bitcoin, kind of moving fairly more independent, but do keep in mind pretty much every single altcoin out there does rely on Bitcoin to an extent. So if Bitcoin drops just say 5%, 10% in a couple of hours, which it has a tendency of doing and has done in the recent past, you'll see that knee-jerk reaction happen with XRP as well. Okay, so just be mindful of that. There's a good chance that this recent increase was diminished based on the simple fact that Bitcoin recently sold off. Okay, so just something to be aware of. All right, now that being said, now that we got that kind of out of the way, quick disclaimers out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the technical. So look at the moving averages. Both moving averages are traveling above. So that is potentially a strong resistance channel. We also want to look at the volume too while we're at it here. So in the last weeks of trading, so we'll just go ahead and go with the exact, since November 11th, right? Last 5 weeks of trading. What have we seen for the volume? Most volume accumulation happening right now, right around 83 cents. So the price action is now above that. Therefore, we can consider that to be a support level, right? Now, it's not a firm support like a traditional support level, based on Fibonacci retracement levels, but it's kind of a range. So it really just tells us that we have a strong support range between 76 and 83 cents. And we're above that right now. So that's a good sign. Because ultimately, if you look at the volume profile or just say volume weight average price, expresses the volume in the last 24 hours as a price, right? Well, right now, if we look at it, we are above that level. That's considered a support, and that's a very good sign that could help continue the price action higher. I like to look at that. So those are good things, very complementing factors, you could say. But the bottom line here is though that moving averages, which are equally as important as the volume profile, are still higher, and they're creating a resistance channel as well. So we got a nice support channel below the price action, but we got a very strong resistance channel anywhere between 94 and $1. So 94 cents and $1 is a strong resistance zone. Okay, so let's just be aware of that. Moving averages, let's go ahead and take a look next at the RSI rather, and you can see RSI is still under 50, so not great. We haven't broken 50 yet. 50 is a good place to be over in order to consider that as a support level. Therefore, we can kind of consider XRP to be more bullish than bearish. Now, granted, again, Bitcoin, I don't think we're going to see a lot of bullish convergence here in the next week or two. The year end's always kind of funny with the tax purposes, etc. So we could very well see XRP just kind of slowly progress upwards. I wouldn't say we're going to see a strong increase in the near future or expect that, but it could happen. Okay, so just being real with you again, I always try to be realistic. I'm not going to feed you any type of craziness here because honestly, coins move and sometimes they don't, but for the most part they do tend to average out, and we don't see that that kind of tendency from XRP in the most recent past. And with it having been reliant on Bitcoin in the last few weeks for that matter, we shouldn't expect this type of increase to continue until Bitcoin has some kind of certainty, if you will, right? Bitcoin starts making higher highs and higher lows, yeah, XRP is probably going to take off, right? We just got to be realistic in that sense. That being said, we're above the 50-day set moving average. This is a positive thing as well. That's concurrent with the volume profile visible range we just identified at 83 cents. So that's awesome, awesome stuff. We also see 50 on the RSI working as a support level. This is very, very good on the 4-hour chart. It's ultimately the most important, in my opinion, to be over 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour to ensure we saw that bullish continuation. So if we lose 50, that means we probably lost a key level support, which would likely be 83 cents. Which is also the 50-day set moving average and the volume profile visible range we already identified. So everything kind of hinges on that. I'd say 83 cents is a pretty strong support level right in between these two Fibonacci retracement levels. Okay, so good stuff there. I like to see that. So it's kind of building a strong base or foundation. Okay, if you're going to build anything, right, you want to have a good foundation, and that's kind of what's happening here. So the last couple weeks of continuation, or just say consolidation, has really helped a lot to build that base where people feel the XRP is undervalued right now, and they're going to want to be able to purchase it, right? So it's all about perception. But the thing we got to understand too is that there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, and that is a lot to do with Bitcoin. So if you're scared about investing, and a coin like this seems to be undervalued, are you going to want to invest in it, or are you going to wait for that fear to subside? Well, fear subsides naturally if you just continue to average out, right? It's kind of like we're all getting desensitized, so to speak, to Bitcoin being a good value or normal price at 47,000. Well, XRP is the same effective concept, right? We have this average of 83 cents, and people are kind of getting used to that. And now it seems to be like, oh, okay, that's a low price. We're going to add to the price, and price comes up. That's how averages work, and that's how the fear, uncertainty, and doubt will start to subside once we get kind of used to this normal stuff. Same concept as like violence as a kid, right? You watch a lot of violence as a child, and you start getting kind of desensitized and used to it. Grand Theft Auto and all that stuff, and then you eventually it kind of just becomes a normal thing, which isn't good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's great, but that's happening too with the perception of Bitcoin right now. Okay, 47,000 seems to be a very good value, but people are kind of concerned about the overall sense. Is it going to go any lower, right? Again, a lot of little things you can kind of think of, a lot of good analogies, but let's just go ahead and move on before I go too far down the rabbit hole. Let's look at the Ichimoku cloud and see here. So we just had the price intersect with the lagging span intersect with the price action, right? So this would have been a case in point where you would have wanted to sell your position. Again, Ichimoku cloud is a very conservative indicator, okay? So keep that in mind. We had a couple of instances where it pretty much told us to sell our position. So for lack of better terms, we don't have any type of consideration to want to buy. Yes, we're above the cloud. Sure, that's one good check mark. But the lagging span just came into intersection with the price action, right? So that's normally a conservative way of saying, hey, you should exit your position if you have a long position. It also tells us too that the baseline is lower than the conversion line. Conversion line always needs to be higher than the baseline to take comfortable entry. So even though, yes, this is a potential dip, you might be considering adding to your position. That's perfectly fine. Dollar cost average. Just don't take all of your eggs, put them into this basket here, because XRP is still not out of the woods yet. In fact, most coins aren't. There's only a couple of select coins right now that are. So you really just kind of want to keep building your portfolio right now. Like right now, it's all about finding the lowest points for the coins you want to invest in and putting a little bit into them at each time. You should never put everything into this coin. I can assure you that, yeah, some people get lucky, right? Some of those Elon holders, those Dogecoin holders got lucky. Yes, mostly luck, okay? Luck doesn't happen to everyone, all right? And if you're smart, you diversify, and XRP could be one of those diversifications for you. Anyway, so we don't have much identification there of taking entry, right? We don't have confirmation, and that's what we need to look for, and there isn't any confirmation yet. The one thing we do have going for us, and this is kind of synonymous with Bitcoin as well, because we just hit a 9 on Bitcoin too. We have a 9 on TD sequential that just occurred 3 hours ago. It could imply that we have another 7 to 11 more hours of bullish continuation of the upside. Now, I say could imply because really Bitcoin decides it wants to drop another 5% or 3% in the next hour or two, then this won't matter. Okay, so just bear that in mind. We're still early into this increase. It could continue to increase. It could get rejected out of this resistance at about 88 cents or 89. We're not sure exactly, but previously you see it hit a 9 and got turned right around based on quite a few factors. Again, it rose up too fast, too quick, so it had to get corrected. That's a very standard thing. But also simply put here, we don't have enough. We have too much. We have an overabundance of fear in the market right now. Okay, and again, XRP being fairly synonymous with Bitcoin, regardless of the last 48 hours. Yes, it's done better than Bitcoin in the last 48 hours. It's still nowhere near where it should be, right? XRP should be a good coin, and it's not just yet based on that sentiment. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not slandering the coin at all. Obviously, good fundamentals, big picture. I do think there's a good chance it'll take off once everything's kind of in the past. But for right now, we can't expect it just to take off based on what we see here so far. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Again, my constant reiteration here for most coins is pretty much the same. Just add your positions as you can. Obviously, whatever you can afford comfortably. Diversify your portfolio. You should have 25% of your portfolio in, either Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then of course the next 25% in the top 10 coins, for the coin market cap, right? The top 10 coin market cap coins should be that percent. Then of course you got, your NFTs, your DeFis, and they should all be about 10% per portfolio. Now, if you're part of my community, I share that with you, of course, just a natural progression of a good pie chart and what that should look like. But for the moment, if you're all in on XRP, you're doing it wrong. So I hope you don't take offense to that and you understand what I'm saying, because I know there's some passionate crowds with XRP, but I can tell you also too that there's ways to invest and there's ways to gamble. If you're a gambler, go ahead, right? But this is investing, and no matter how you look at it, you're putting your hard-earned money into an industry that's very volatile and could really screw you over. So why why do everything all at once, right? Spread it out. I promise in the long run it'll make much more sense. For right now, it seems like it's a challenge just because everything is down. We'll get back there, okay? It's just a matter of time. What goes down must come up, right? We got to understand that. Stay strong and definitely believe. So I hope you found benefit here. Enough rambling for me here today. I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks so much for your time. Comment below if you have any questions or concerns. And obviously, consider joining my community before year end. I think we're going to be increasing the rates next year, which is actually next month, as a matter of fact. So on target for the new year. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon. Take care.